Hello, I'm Rick Reynolds.
And I'm Suzanne.
This video commemorates a very special milestone in the rich history of Peach State Truck Centers. Suzanne and I are humbled and stand in awe of our many employees who are truly like family to us. The collective efforts of all of our customers, our industry partners, such as Daimler Trucks North America, Ford Motor Company, Cummins Engine Company, and many others are a big part of why we're here today.
We are honored to have you with us to celebrate Peach State's 50th anniversary. It's amazing how fast time has passed. From 1974, when Tom opened Peach State Ford in Norcross with one location, to where we are today. Your fingerprints are all over our success. It's been an incredible journey filled with memories. Many were great, some were sad, and others were very scary. But your help navigated us through this uncertainty.
It's been a great journey with a great future ahead of us. As I reflect back on the last 50 years, I find myself immensely proud and grateful, but also energized for our great future.
We hope you enjoyed this look back as we reflect on Peach State's successes with our challenges and, most importantly, our immense gratitude for you who have helped us get to where we are today. And we are so thankful that God has blessed us.
We really are. So now, let's take a look back at 1974 to see how it all started.
Our founder, Tom Reynolds, was an executive at Ford Motor Company for 25 years. He had a lifelong dream of becoming a dealer and was offered the opportunity to become a Ford commercial truck dealer in Atlanta, Georgia.
So they had a program where if you had the want to, but didn't necessarily have the capital to get into a dealership at the time, they came to him and said, hey, there's this new point in this little small town called Atlanta, Georgia.
I mean, it was like the Beverly Hillbillies. One night we loaded up the truck and loaded up the cars and put the animals in the cars and made a beeline for Atlanta, Georgia.
Peach State Ford Truck Sales was born.
My employee number is 13.
I've been with them 46 years, and I'm 28.
122. I think they're in like the 5,000 mark now.
At 144. Kind of low.
You have to remember, Peach State was very new in a new location, had no identity whatsoever. The only identity there was cars going up and down I-85. Back then, they didn't stop. They were moving on.
All around Peach State there was pretty much vacant. It was just open fields and stuff, before they started progress and building warehouses.
I remember hearing stories about him starting the business with the card table on the showroom floor and a handful of employees and selling that very first Ford. Eating beans and weenies, trying to figure out how they're going to make payroll.
When we started back in the 70s, we were trained to be a little company in a company. So we did everything. If you sold a truck, inspected a truck, you ordered the truck come in, you put it through service, PDI'd it, and then you delivered it. And you always delivered your own trucks.
Our sales floor, you would walk in and there was sets of desks on the left, on the right, with a small, walkway to my desk. We could hear everybody, talking, customers, everything.
I guess my main role when they first hired me says no such thing as that's not your job. Whatever job they had available for me, it's the job I done.
And it was really Tom, a sales manager, a guy that understood parts overall, and the controller at the time. They pretty much ran the organization. They would have weekly meetings and come to talk about who owes us what, and they knew those individuals probably by first name, the owners of those companies. Very small accounts receivable lines. They knew every truck transaction that happened in the organization. Quite frankly, they probably knew most of the parts transactions. So it was very, very close-knit, hands-on in every transaction of the business.
I always knew the day was getting ready to get kicked off when I saw Mr. Tom making a lap. at Norcross, because he would circle the building and check things out, and there were always a few questions when he would come in.
That's what Granddaddy did. He would ride around and he would pick up all the rags, and instead of his service manager buying more shop rags in bulk, he would keep them and he would say, 5 cents, you want them back, you pay me 5 cents. Man, the stingy old man.
He always told me, I may own this company, but your job is the most important job in this dealership, and it's answering the phone and getting the customers to the people they need to talk to. I was answering over 1,000 calls a day.
I remember my very first interaction was probably my 3rd year out of college in public accounting, and we did the work for Peach State. We sat upstairs in the old Norcross, small, cramped, dusty, nasty offices where we got sat up against the wall, a table probably about this big. So we can't necessarily forget, how this company was started and the heart of the individual that started this company and how much blood, sweat, tears, pressure was put into it. Quite frankly, he bet his family's savings, everything, on an opportunity that we now have.
Interest rates, at least in the late 70s, were, in the high teens and even knocking on the door of 20%. And he was, trying to get this business up and out of the ground and on its own legs in that difficult environment.
Just because Atlanta had the potential didn't mean it's automatically going to happen.
And I watched my dad invest himself, go all in to start this business, to grow this business, and it was his life.
The secret of his success, which I will now tell everybody, was his wife, Pat. She was just perfectly suited for the dealer's wife and gave him the encouragement.
I think of how challenging it must have been to be a partner to someone who is starting a company, and all that it takes to start something new, and challenging, scary times, and there's no certainty.
She was very kind. Actually, we had hired a guy from Louisiana, and he was a young guy, just got married. And I think she gave him like a lot of furniture, clothes, and stuff like that to help him out.
Caring and giving is two probably words that perfectly fit her. There's more to life than trucks and money and so forth, and she kind of proved it.
Peach State Ford Truck Sales was in the right place at the right time during Metro Atlanta's surging growth in the 1980s. Road construction, neighborhood development, and office parks appeared all over the north side of town. Gwinnett County was one of the fastest growing counties in America, and Peach State was in the thick of it all, with a large inventory of dump trucks and other types of vocational trucks in stock at Peach State Ford.
Peach State was one of the biggest stocking dealers around, so the good thing about working for Peach State was you always had something to sell.
Peach State Ford Truck Sales truly became a Reynolds family business when Tom's son Tim joined the business in the early 80s.
Tim brought a very special set of skills into our family business. He worked in every department. He fixed trucks, he sold parts, he sold trucks.
I remember Mr. Reynolds used to come up to me and say, "What's Tim doing these days?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Was he still seeing, so-and-so or whatever?" And I said, "No, Mr. Reynolds, they broke up a while ago." Next day it comes in, Tim comes up to me and he said, "Would you quit telling my dad my life?" And I say, "Well, your dad ranks."
Peach State prospered along with the Metro Atlanta area into the 1990s. The sales and service departments were open extra hours to meet customer needs. This made Peach State very easy to do business with and extremely convenient for customers.
Service, at different points, they were operating 24 hours. It was really according to what the economy was and what needed to happen.
We used to have floor days on Saturdays because there would be the working man would work during the week and then come look for trucks or to upgrade a truck on the weekend.
Tom was proud of the business, and Peach State gained the admiration of Ford Motor Company, too. They wanted to see it succeed for years to come.
One day, my dad called me and said, "Hey, Ford's asking me about a succession plan. Would you like to come work in the dealership with your brother and be a part of a succession plan?" And I said, yeah, I think that would be great. He says, "Well, talk to your brother and let me know." So I did. I talked to Tim, and he said, "Hey, here's the good, the bad, the ugly of working in this business. There are no secrets, but it's great. Good luck with your decision." And I decided to join Peach State in 1995. I came from a very professional environment to a family-run business, and that's just different. So there was time that I had to take to acclimate into the environment. I made plenty of mistakes.
Rick started as a service writer on the second shift, and he had his name on a uniform, and that replaced the name on his door with an office overlooking the skyline of Atlanta. That was a change. It was like a big change.
But it was a way that I could earn my stripes, if you will. I could earn the respect of, the employees of Peach State, that it just wasn't a path of walking in and sitting in the corner office or being given something.
We just saw him constantly working really hard, even if it was him not at the house, like at the office or traveling. We knew he was working, but even at home, he would work at home a lot.
When Rick came into business, he basically continued what Tom was doing, but he took it up a notch. And he would address this thing of being a family business. Not necessarily a family-owned business, but a family business.
Metro Atlanta continued to grow with the turn of the new century. Along with the other states in the Sun Belt, the Reynolds family realized that one dealership wasn't enough to serve everyone in the area, and plans were made for expansion in South Atlanta.
A South Side location was a big thing. So with my accounting experience, my commercial real estate experience, we went out in the marketplace to look for land to build a second location, and we procured land to do that.
Back in those days, it was just Ford. It was primarily just Norcross and McDonough and Parts Distribution Center at the time. Everybody that worked there could put their arms around everybody. Everybody knew everybody's first names.
We were close. Even the customers that come in was kind of like family. We knew them. I remember one day the customer come in, and he would always clear the desk of his salesperson. And I said, "Why do you do that?" He goes, "Because he doesn't need all this stuff on his desk." That customer became that salesman's father-in-law.
A lot of family pictures and the pictures of the shenanigans that went on with the employees, and family picnics and baseball games, and just a lot of camaraderie between the employees for years and years and years.
They're more than just employees. They're our friends, and we care a lot about them. And Rick really does make a lot of his decisions that consider the benefit of the families, the people that work for him. It's a blessing and a privilege.
Mr. Reynolds always treated everybody like family. He was smart enough to put key people in key roles. His door was always open. He would always communicate, talk with you, have a joke or two. And it's always been that way.
Like any business, there were unplanned changes with potential disruptions. And in 1998, the sale of Ford's heavy-duty truck assets to Daimler Chrysler meant Peach State Ford now had two OEM truck brands, Sterling and Ford. This created a new set of challenges for the business and resulted in a new name. The business would be called Peach State Truck Centers.
So what happened in the 90s is Ford sold their heavy truck division to Daimler, and they made it Sterling.
We sold and served the dump truck market in the state of Georgia, and that was our reputation as a Ford dealer, and carried on as we became a Sterling dealer.
It was surprising. Tom Reynolds and Peach State had been with Ford for so long, And now they were suddenly going to be part of the Daimler family. There was a silver lining, though.
They saw this as a great opportunity to take more market share, bring in a new dealer group, and they took the assets of the Ford heavy-duty truck division and created the Sterling brand. And when that happened, while it was a surprise to the Ford dealers, we really saw it as a pretty cool thing.
Things were about to change, though, in a big way. In late 2006, Daimler Truck of North America announced plans to sell some of their factory-owned stores. This included the assets of Atlanta Freightliner, Select Trucks of Atlanta, and Thomas Built Bus of Georgia.
On the surface, it says, well, that makes sense, go after that brand. But in reality, the Atlanta Freightliner organization was about 3 to 4 times the size of the Peach State Ford Truck Center location or organization.
Being a factory guy, I just assumed that everybody would think this is the greatest thing for Peach State to ever happen. And yet I had to kind of put my selling shoes on a little bit for Tom and Tim. And that kind of surprised me. Rick was all in, but and Freightliner, you know, they were not in love with all just Ford dealers, and so took a little convincing on either side.
Atlanta Freightliner was more of what we call our on-highway truck, you know, a truck that pulls a trailer, where our Ford Western Star environment was more of a vocational type of truck, a dump truck, a roll-off truck, a bucket truck, things like that. So this was a whole new market, a whole new culture that we were bringing into our little family business.
Freightliner had a big push to gain market share, and the Select Truck Network was born on a necessity to sell the trades they were taking from the mega fleets. I think it completes our offerings to our customers.
Thomas Bus was part of the acquisition of Atlanta Freightliner in 2007. Peach State had not had a full bus line before that acquisition in 2007.
You know, it took us a while to digest that. You don't just all of a sudden double your business overnight and not have any problems.
We went from 4 locations and about 175 people to, I think, 12 or 13 locations and 375 people that it hit the fan. We couldn't run the business the way my dad ran the business. There was just no way. And at that time, you know, I was running the Freightliner side of the organization, and my brother Tim was running the Ford Western Star side of the organization. And I remember going to my dad and saying, hey, I know that you're stepping back, and I know that you want Rick and Tim to run the business, but the way it's structured right now, it isn't a sustainable structure. It just isn't. And I said, you need to make a decision who you want to run this company. You know, there was a difficult message to tell my dad. So we structured the company with me being the president and Tim being a vice president of sales, because really that was his sweet spot.
No one at Peach State could have predicted what happened next. America was gripped with a banking and housing crisis, resulting in an unbelievable recession in late 2007 and early 2008.
We had just completed the Atlanta Freightliner acquisition in 2007. A very risky acquisition for our organization, again, because Atlanta Freightliner was so much larger than our organization. And the resources required to accomplish this acquisition were all borrowed from Daimler Truck Financial. But we knew what we were faced with, and we had a plan to work through it. What we didn't anticipate was that the recession at that time, starting in 2007, moving into 2008, and really getting ugly, it was a valley. It was a very tough time for our company. That's what was taking place in corporate America. It was layoffs, it was pay cuts.
You want to talk about being grateful for customers? There are a handful of customers that, were it not for them buying trucks from us in 2008, 2009, 2010, we're not here. Simply put, and because of the acquisition with Atlanta Freightliner. And I've been able to express that to those customers. We're not here without you. Like, your commitment and partnership kept us in business.
In Peach State's case, to me, they are a true business partner with us. Peach State obviously wants to make money, just like we want to make money. But that being said, they also have a vested interest in our success. And when I look at the fact that they have that vested interest in our success, that really means a lot.
And really it screams stability. And when you're looking for partnership from our side in this space, stability and a reputation in the industry is so critical.
The recession was stressful. Peach State made some skillful business maneuvers, but more dark clouds loomed on the horizon. Daimler was disappointed in Sterling truck sales around this time, and in 2009 decided to retire the brand.
That was really tough, particularly trying to get the Atlanta Freightliner acquisition integrated into our company and trying to get it to generate the right profits in this horrible recession that we found ourselves in. And the call came in, I guess it was a Monday morning, right? We're discontinuing the Sterling brand. And I'm looking out of the window at $8 to $10 million of dead inventory at that time. I mean, because who wants to buy a truck from a brand that's going out of business? So that was tough. Those fundamental sound business practices that my dad started the company with, that we continue to use today, allowed us to properly manage our cash, to maintain those types of benefits and honor our employees during a very difficult time economically.
The EPA guidelines for trucks in the early 2000s prompted truck manufacturers to develop lower emission diesel engines, creating significant cost increases throughout this decade.
Then as we get into 2011, 2013, the Daimler group of products continued to grow in their success, both in fuel mileage and reliability.
The Freightliner acquisition was paying off. Sales were picking up. Peach State Truck Centers was thriving because of the growth of the Atlanta metropolitan area and the scope of products, parts, and services offered. It was the perfect time to look inward and map out the future.
The organization still pretty much ran, I'll say, as a more traditionally ran small dealership group, not necessarily ready to scale, but ran very lean. So I know that a big part of this growth that we're seeing today is Rick's vision to get great individuals that know a lot about their field in place. And so that's really when the leadership team really began. And that was a head of service and parts and a head of sales.
They were having to spread the HR function very thin over a large area of people doing different things, and it was haphazard. So when I came in, one of my first jobs was to take all of the HR processes and combine them and consolidate them into a shared service at the corporate office.
Rick learned of a Freightliner dealer in Alabama that wanted to sell. This would become the first business venture outside of Georgia.
There were, a lot of trips over there and transitioning from the Davis family that owned the dealership there, with some of the people staying on board with us when it changed from Liberty Truck Sales to Birmingham Freightliner.
Birmingham's a very different market. Trucking is a huge employer in the state of Alabama, and it's kind of one of those cornerstone industries for the state, and that's good. I mean, that's good for our business, but also good for our future.
The Alabama Peach State connection grew over time to include Tuscaloosa and Harpersville. Rick realized that the company was growing exponentially and needed to become more unified in purpose. Plans for the first Peach State Truck Centers Leadership Conference were put into action.
Many dealerships, organizations, large organizations are very siloed into their area of expertise. But we sat down and ultimately said, let's do an analysis. Our mission and vision is we're going to be the best at what we do. We're going to be the dealer of choice, which means anybody that's looking for any commercial application whatsoever will come to us.
A couple years ago, when senior leadership got together and decided to really take a look at our business and how we're doing business, it made a decision to be intentional about making some changes because we knew we needed to do so for the future.
And that proved effective. You know, that gave us some structure. That gave us the opportunity to craft a common vision, a common mission, and a set of core values that we could apply to our entire company. I remember the day that I was in my dad's office and he told me that Mom had cancer. And he said that the name of the cancer is sarcoma. Never heard of that type of cancer. And I could tell my dad was disturbed. I could tell he was scared. And he was in the works of getting my mom into Emory, into their cancer treatment center for diagnosis and a treatment plan.
I think that there was a lot of emotional support my grandmother provided, my grandfather, that really allowed him to confidently keep moving forward. I think she's a superhero.
The cancer took her life pretty quickly. And of course that was devastating to my father. You know, they had been married almost 50 years, I think. And again, she'd been such an important part of the dealership as his wife.
My grandfather, he just wanted to get involved, wanted to help find a cure because he was personally impacted by it.
You know, as Emory was raising funds for their Winship Cancer Center, they wanted to start a 5K race. I remember my dad coming back to the dealership saying, Emory's starting a Winship 5K race to raise money for the Cancer Center. We're going to be the primary sponsor. You put a team together and make it happen. We continue to support it today because we find it meaningful to give back. It's great work that's taking place. My sister is a cancer survivor, you know, a beneficiary of the great work at Emory Winship.
Tom had the good fortune, and he did this well by hiring the good people. You know, and in this world, there's givers and there's takers. And he always seemed to hire the givers and the ones that could contribute and kind of thought the way he did.
I think somebody referred to him as the Vince Lombardi of trucking, that's a pretty cool nickname.
I had the conversation with my dad, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was pretty close before he passed away. And he said, you know, this business is too big for me. You and Tim are doing a great job, you know, which, while my dad was a man to compliment, there weren't many, so when you got one, it was golden.
With Tom's death, the torch was officially passed on to the second generation of the Reynolds family. But tragedy struck Peach State again. 2 longtime employees passed away, and then Tim suffered a heart attack in 2017.
I was very fortunate to have my brother as my business partner. His untimely death in 2017 was a surprise to everybody. And Tim brought a very special set of skills into our family business.
Tim was my bud. We were just really close. He would come to me on the holidays. I don't know what to get Mom for Christmas.
So I guess I get a chance to see the old and the new, you know. But, I mean, I guess the main thing you remember, and some of the old people that actually have passed away, and you really miss that family part of it. You hate to see it.
I would love for Tim to be a part of this today, because what's happening today, again, is a good product of what he brought to our company.
So the uniqueness of Peach State is really the fact that it isn't just necessarily a family feel, but the owners, and that started with Tom, Tim, Rick, and even Burke. They definitely all care about you as an individual, our people, our employees as individuals. They want to see them grow and thrive.
The people that have been with us, you know, the 40, the 30, the 20 years that are still with us today, their fingerprints are all over our success, you know, and it's an exciting thing to be a part of.
Peach State Truck Centers gained national attention too. In 2018, Rick Reynolds and Peach State were awarded the American Truck Dealer of the Year for business performance, industry leadership, and community service.
I do remember the first time I remembered or realized what my grandfather and my dad and uncle had worked so hard to build. It was the award for the Truck Dealer of the Year.
There's two men that should be with me on this stage today, my father and brother, both whom have passed away recently. Their influence, their counsel, their friendship, their love is what really is represented in our company today, and this great honor is a beautiful way to honor their memory.
To actually hear other people talk about and acknowledge how much it's grown was a really joyful and prideful moment for me.
In order to build on the past and prepare for the future, marketing, information technology, and an enhanced accounting system were integrated to oversee key business operations.
It's hiring good people that you can trust, that you know they're going to do the right thing, and then have a good system of communication and checkpoints.
Peach State is important because it started out as a mom and pop shop, and it still has the family feel, but it's no longer a mom and pop business. It's 705 employees and growing every day. So developing the organization is key to putting in processes, procedures, and people into the day-to-day operations that keep you running consistently in one direction. But it's more the relationship with the people and the staff and the leadership that's important to helping us become that employer of choice.
I didn't know anything about trucking. I knew that Rick Reynolds' goal was to build a leadership team that specialized in their function. I know about marketing. That's what I know about. I know about building a brand, growing it, nurturing it, governing it. I know how to put things in place that weren't there before, such as reputation management and a lot of organic SEO and just different, marketing elements.
I joined Peach State 2 months after their conversion, their software conversion. So I spent the next 12 months plus just getting the dealership back to square one with the normal processes before we can go to the automation and come up with the better practices. Today, though, we are leaps and bounds ahead of where we were with better KPI reporting for our middle managers, for their departments, for visibility to transactions that are taking place in accounting.
Actually investing your culture and your workflows in that new platform is what makes the magic. And I think here at Peach State, that's what we're doing. When we've adopted these new technology platforms, we were able to go through and really analyze our workflow and develop custom workflows for our customers and for our vendors.
Technology has really been a push for Peach State for us over the past 3 to 4 years. It was one of our kind of 4 main goals under our Fingerprints initiative, where we could all had the opportunity to put our fingerprints on the organization, as well as integrating technology kind of is all a part of the culture change.
We always trickle out new changes, and we get into this loop with our employees where they start getting excited because they're part of the process and they're part of the creation. And a lot of the best ideas that we've used technology to solve have come from our managers and our service advisors and our warehouse. Our people yearn for more technology. They always have new ideas, and we're always looking for tools to make that better.
Everything seemed to be rolling along, with the promise of a new decade of growth on the horizon. "2020's global health crisis, COVID-19, brought everyday life to a standstill, and ordinary business operations no longer worked. Peach State Truck Centers were considered an essential business, which helped keep the doors open.
So I know when we were going through COVID, it was a stressful time, and everything had just shut down. Our business had slowed down 25–30% for 2 months in a row, and I remember we met daily, mornings and afternoons, to try to figure out what to do.
I think to get through the pandemic and the issues that came along with that, I think it speaks to the culture of the company. There's a can-do attitude. We just sort of have a way of figuring it out.
We were like everybody else. During the pandemic, trying to find parts was almost impossible. But yet every time we really needed their help, we'd reach out to Ryan or Jim and say, see what you can do. And there were a lot of times, I don't know how they did it. It's like they pulled a rabbit out of a hat, but they were able to get us stuff.
Trucks aren't glamorous, but they're part of the economy. We're part of something bigger than just selling trucks and just the customers that are right in front of us. During the pandemic and the medicines started to ship, the videotape on the news feed across the whole United States of America was a brown Freightliner truck owned by UPS that Peach State sold. It was a pretty proud moment. In fact, I clipped it and sent it to my parents and said, hey, look at this. We sold that truck. So we're part of that solution.
Peach State's workforce was resilient, and everyone came together and adapted the way they did business. The executive team looked back on the experience with pride and realized that they needed to continue to plan for the future to keep this vibrant dynamic growing. Burke Reynolds, Rick's son, grew up in and around Peach State and had officially joined the family business in 2015.
Jim Elliott took me around in a truck, and we visited like 4 or 5 locations in a day. Just did a little road show. He's like, I just wanted to give you an idea of like all the people that your family like impacts. It was overwhelming. These are the people that you could be leading one day, so don't screw it up. That was literally my first or second day on the job. I had no idea what he meant.
Burke Reynolds actually worked for me on 2 different occasions. Once when he was in college, and later after college, he came to my store to be a salesperson. Burke has been and is a great employee. At one point, Burke asked me what I wanted to do when he ran the company, and I told him I needed to be retired. I told that story to his grandfather, Mr. Tom, who got a good chuckle out of that. I would tell you I feel completely different today, so Burke, please do not retire me.
Very few truck businesses make it past the 2nd generation, and Peach State is going on its 3rd generation, and that is a big deal for Mr. Tom, Tim, and Rick to follow their father's footsteps, to add to the success that he had, for the way that Rick has got Burke set up with the team around him for success, to grow it, to get it bigger and better. It's a big deal.
Something my dad has done that I really appreciate, he's been very intentional. When we talked about succession, you know, he was very intentional in surrounding me with people that are way smarter than me, but also that are a little bit farther along in life, you know, just from a life experience standpoint and a career standpoint.
As in everything in life and everything in business, things change. You got to be able to adapt, and you should be able to project a little bit of what's going to happen. And I guarantee you, it's a tougher job now than it was when Rick took over or when Tom started it. There were some other unusual circumstances, but it's up to us to make sure he is successful, and I am sure that he's going to be.
A management retreat in 2020 sparked a defining moment in the company's culture. After reading and discussing a book about the real purpose of a business, all of the attendees were asked to consider their why in business and in life.
I was listening as they went around the room and started saying the same thing but differently.
Being challenged by Rhonda, you know, Rick, what is your why? Because you lead this organization, because of casting the vision. I went home and I wrestled with it after this leader offsite meeting.
And then after we got back, a couple days later, there has to be one simple statement, you know, and why? Why do we do what we do?
Rick stands up and ultimately tells a story going, you know, this is going to be, might sound really bizarre to you guys.
Rick Reynolds says, well, I have no passion for trucks. And as a guy that's been in the truck business my entire life, my stomach hit the floor. It made me a little nauseous. I did not know what to think at that particular moment in time.
And so to hear him say this, I don't necessarily care about trucks. What I care about is our people. I want to see our individuals grow. I want to see our individuals thrive, and I want to give them the opportunity to do that.
But it became very clear to me that my why, and therefore the why of Peach State, is simply this: to make a positive difference in the lives of others. If I can do that daily to somebody, if our company can do that daily to a customer, a fellow employee, a vendor, anybody that we encounter, then we've answered our calling.
As the years have gone by and we've put this into practice and we focus on making a positive difference in our employees' lives and our customers' lives, it's an awesome why. It's a great reason to get up in the morning. We're part of something bigger than ourselves individually. We're part of something bigger than even our company.
As we are, as a company, engaged in this journey, this process to build an organization that strives to provide an exceptional experience for customers and to have a positive influence on our customers, our partners, our employees, I think it's only going to create tremendous opportunities for growth as well as opportunities for our employees. I'm excited about the journey. I think we're just getting started, and I think the future is bright for Peach State Truck Centers.
We're seeing deeper relationships with our customers because of it. We're seeing more trusting relationships with our vendor partners because of it. It proves to our people that we're willing to back up what we say.
And if we can really hone in and focus on that and let that be the heart of the decisions that we make, then quite frankly, the financial results will come along for the ride.
Peach State Truck Centers then introduced professional development and employee-focused programs for everyone.
We trained our technicians really well, but the remainder of our organization, we had nothing. Let's bring somebody with that expertise into our organization. Let's really start to set individuals on a path, on a career path, that they join us after they exit college and they retire, from our business.
They are growing, individuals that are not managers in an Accelerate program to become managers. They're growing middle managers to move them up into an executive level, to a general manager position.
We want your fingerprint on this. We want you to take ownership of what we're doing today and where we're headed in the future. But again, going backwards, I think the foundation of fingerprints was set by the Reynolds family years ago.
We've also come out with a really cool program, Supporting What Matters to You. It gives every single employee, no matter what your title is, an allowance every year to donate to things that you're interested in. So whether it's the school teams or your church charity or food bank, there's an opportunity for every employee to give back to the community in their own way.
Have we helped everybody? No. I mean, that's, I don't want to say it's impractical or anything like that, but that's our heart. That's our motive. And when we've been able to do that with the right heart and the right motive, it's been wonderfully received with just phenomenal benefit.
We also have a program, PEEPS. It's Peach State Employee Empowerment Program. Our employees are empowered, right, to look around their surroundings, their working environment, and ask the question, what would make it more fun, or what would make it more enjoyable?
It's a group of employees, non-managers, that we've got set aside at each location. They come together, they get to choose what matters to them.
Peach State was establishing itself as the dealer of choice, but more emphasis on company-wide team leadership was necessary. The goal? Make exceptional service an everyday experience for employees and customers.
I love leading organizations. I love casting vision. I love bringing talent together as a team and then saying, here's a goal, or here's a journey. Let's go get it.
We've never brought all of the managers together inside the organization. Let's bring them into the big picture of what's happening this year, from growth to new locations, to our operational objectives, and get them a little peek behind the curtain.
Not only did each location operate in a silo, each department operated in a silo. And that's something we've been working on.
The silos are being broken down, but as we train our new future leaders, they're being trained in a fashion that there are no silos, that sales works with parts, that parts works with service, and service works with sales, and that we all work together.
Creates some camaraderie between the managers and allows us to share openly and borrow proudly as we attempt to achieve our goal.
We're really focused on
figuring out how to deliver exceptional experiences for our customers and employees. And a lot of people, that's words, but here it's not words. Like, we're really doing things that make an impact.
Y'all have been able to kind of bring out teams, work with the Freightliner group, get their engineering team out, ride with some of our drivers, get feedback directly from our driver teams. One of the coolest things that y'all have done is right off the bat, you guys helped us put together with kind of a network of dealers that you had relationships, helped us put together a national network. I give the Peach State team so much respect, is the kind of full life cycle management that y'all provide and the ability to be attentive to our needs.
Still to this day, it's not about the money.
I don't think my grandfather would ever, in his wildest dreams, think that we would be where we are today. And I don't think, my dad and my uncle would have thought that 10 years ago. So looking back and seeing where we've come, it does kind of empower me to look at the future with like an incredible sense of optimism. We are here to put others' needs above our own. And it's tangible the moment you walk into the door.
That's what Peach State is to me, making a positive difference in the lives of others.
As technology and process improvements make Peach State more efficient, there will be more growth, new customers, and different business challenges. As a team and a family, Peach State is ready to do great things.
Not that I'm going anywhere anytime soon. Burke is in the business. He's still learning. He's still earning respect from the Peach State teammates. I become very excited about the possibility of him leading this company one day.
What most impresses me about Burke is how much he cares. He cares about people more than anything. He cares about doing a great job. He cares about what is good for the organization. Those are traits that cannot be taught. Those are in his heart, and I believe that.
I'm surrounded by a lot of smart people that will figure out whatever the strategy is, we'll figure it out. But one thing that won't change is the care we have for each other, care we have for our customers.
Peach State Truck Centers continues to expand with new locations in Cartersville and Villa Rica, Georgia, to serve additional growing markets.
I think we put a lot of thought into workflow and what our customers are going to be looking for, cutting edge technology. I look at our parts drive-through for will call pickup. There's not another dealership that has that, so it's going to be very unique. It's going to be an experience.
Instead of the old mindset of driver's lounges and these little pockets of parts service and sales, we're building the entire dealership around an experience for our employees and our customers.
Of course, the future has its share of economic, mechanical, and technological challenges in store.
The market word is disruptors. What is it? Electric vehicles? Is it going to be some sort of a hydrogen type vehicle? Are diesel vehicles going to go away? What's going to happen with gasoline? What are going to be the federal mandates on emissions and the emission standards? And what needs to happen there? But Peach State's ready to take it on because they got the people in place, they've got the culture in place, and they've sort of been there before. They can get through it. I just think they're ready for it.
50 years is quite an accomplishment. While celebrating its wonderful history, Peach State Truck Centers looks forward to a very bright future.
From the people that I never had a relationship with that were here before I was born, to the people that I work alongside with today, to the people that will retire while I'm here. They've all played an instrumental role in my life, but also making a positive difference in the lives of others.
One of the main reasons that we're seeing a 50-year anniversary at Peach State is because you've had family members, owners, who have had futuristic visions.
I want to speak specifically to every employee that's come through Peach State and every employee that works here. You are the reason we're celebrating 50 years. There would be no 50th without you.
It really is a celebration of gratitude and thanks to those risks, those moments, the sacrifices that not just the Reynolds family has made, but everybody that's walked along with them, everybody that's had their fingerprints on this organization as they've moved throughout this 50 years. The future is bright. Our last 50 years was amazing, but our next 50 years, I can't wait.
Peach State Truck Centers, 50 years as a commercial truck dealership, providing sales, parts, and service excellence by making a positive difference in the lives of their customers and employees, remains committed to delivering exceptional products and extraordinary service.
50 years in business is by no means a product of one man, one brand, or any individual accomplishment. It's about the people that we rely on and trust, and they in turn relied and trusted in us. That trust allowed our business to keep moving forward and growing in both size and scope. The spirit of the hard-working employees who founded our company continues to be our strength to this day. We're very thankful to have long-term customers, but also customers that faithfully did business with us because of what we represent and the way in which we conduct our business. When I think of 50 years, a lot of things come to my mind, but the one word that stands out above all is gratitude. And that truly reflects the heart of my family and the heart of the employees at Peach State Truck Centers. As we venture into the next 50 years, we will remain steadfast in pursuing our purpose to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Thank you.